Most people genuinely believe you need a fancy $2,000 camera and a dedicated studio setup to capture truly professional product photos. Let me tell you right now, that information is completely outdated and incorrect. In 2026, the only things you truly need are a well-crafted text prompt and a reliable execution path. Today, I am going to pull back the curtain and show you the exact step-by-step process. I used to fulfill a $500 client order for a luxury watch brand. We accomplished this with absolutely zero physical camera gear and no professional lighting kits whatsoever. This is pure scalable workflow, leveraging the latest generative technology. Now, if you stick with me right until the very end of this tutorial, I am giving away my proprietary VantagePath prompt template. This template is the key I use every single time to consistently achieve these hyper-realistic, print-ready results. So, let's talk about the core issue that every single e-commerce business is currently grappling with right now. The reality is that every brand, no matter how small, desperately needs high-end, compelling visual assets to convert sales. But hiring professional photographers is prohibitively slow, and the associated costs can absolutely crush a growing budget. This is precisely where the massive opportunity with generative AI, like Midjourney, Sora, or Flux, finally steps in. This year, the realism in these models has officially reached what I call human-level parity, making them viable for serious commerce. We need to shift our mindset because we aren't simply dabbling in digital art creation here. We are actively engineering highly specific, visually persuasive assets that are scientifically designed to maximize product sell-through. Now, let's jump over to my desktop to get set up, because organization is the first key to repeatable success. You'll see my VantagePath AI folder, which keeps my source images and final export separate and clean. Our core generation engine for this process remains Midjourney, currently running the latest powerful v6.2 iteration. Next, for achieving true professional quality that stands up to high-resolution printing, we absolutely need Magnific AI for upscaling. Finally, for the occasional small technical flaw, like fixing a misplaced label or cleaning up a reflection, Adobe Photoshop's generative fill is invaluable. With our tools selected, let's dive deep into the actual creation process. Starting with the most critical step, the prompt itself. We employ what I call physics first prompting, ignoring vague descriptions and focusing on measurable material properties. Instead of just typing a watch, we specify luxury sapphire glass to define the optical properties of the material. We then layer in the tactile feedback, asking for brushed steel textures to give it a genuine physical feel. Next, we engineer the environment by demanding cinematic Rembrandt lighting for maximum drama and focus. To ensure maximum future utility, we set the resolution baseline extremely high, insisting on 8K resolution for sharp detail. Finally, we mimic professional camera work by requesting a macro lens depth of field to isolate the subject perfectly. The initial generation will rarely be perfect, so now we enter the crucial phase of iteration and refinement. Here's the first result, and you can clearly see the lighting is far too flat and unengaging for a luxury item. To correct this, I immediately jumped back into the prompt and explicitly added caustic reflections to introduce dynamic light play. This subtle addition instantly brought the necessary visual complexity that signals high production value. We repeat this rapid test and tune cycle until the core image hits that precise aesthetic target we need for the client. Once the base image is approved, we move into the non-negotiable post-production phase to ensure commercial readiness. This is where the engineering background truly shines, focusing on the technical details that separate an art piece from a sellable asset. We take the 2K output and run it through Magnific AI, focusing specifically on its texture enhancement algorithms. This step resolves any latent AI artifacts and ensures the microscopic details of the brushed metal are perfectly crisp. For instance, if the watch dial had a slightly distorted logo, we use Photoshop's generative fill to isolate and repair that one small error. A quick prompt like clean, perfectly aligned brand typography fixes it without re-rendering the entire masterpiece. Now that the image is technically flawless, let's talk about the practical business component, capturing that $500 payment. The single biggest mistake people make is trying to sell AI art as a novelty service to every client they meet. Your actual service offering must be positioned as cost-effective, scalable product cataloging solutions. This reframes the conversation from a creative expense to a necessary modern operational saving. When looking for clients, Upwork and Fiverr are good for initial practice, but LinkedIn offers much higher value potential. Also, don't sleep on cold emailing independent Shopify store owners who still use very basic original product shots. Always keep the final goal in sight, which for this particular job was successfully securing that $500 invoice. We are essentially offering them the visual quality of a major brand without the corresponding major brand overhead costs. Mastering this workflow lowers your barrier to entry for starting a side hustle in the digital imaging space significantly. However, the barrier to achieving actual mastery and consistent, repeatable quality remains relatively high. That gap between entry and mastery is exactly what we work to close here at VantagePath for our community members. We teach you the highly technical engineering, focused routes that lead directly to digital freedom and professional results. To get started right now, check the very first link down in the video description for that master prompt template. And make sure you subscribe to the channel so you don't miss next week's deep dive into full AI product workflow automation. Thank you for watching, and let's continue building the most efficient future of visual commerce together.